Supervisor Lindsay Horvath's office, amongst others. So I think if you want, Tom, first of all, thank you so much for coming and welcome to our meeting. We're all very, very anxious to hear from you and to hear what's going to go on down there. I have made you a co-host so that you're able to share your screen if and when you want to do that. So I think without further ado, Tom, we're just going to turn it over to you.
Great. Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for the opportunity to present our project. Wolfgang, Frank, and I are very excited, as well as Department of Beaches and Harbor from the county and the state of California, to finally be in a position to move forward with the project. It's been a long haul, as you're all aware, 8 years as far as for when we started down this road. But during that time, we've had tremendous start and stops, but finally are at a point where we can get moving forward. I thought what I would do as far as a process here is to first start by clarifying some misinformation that has been circulating since the Coastal Commission hearing, so that hopefully any questions that might arise for that I can put to bed with the facts. And then I'll do a presentation of the project itself. I think that hoping to show you how exciting it is and how pleased we are to be able to move forward with it. So if that would be okay, let me start by first going through. I'm going to share my screen in a minute here, but I wanted to first start with this subject of AB 178. So and I'm going to address in the initial part of the presentation, I'm going to address items that have been raised that have come up as far as this misinformation. So starting on AB 178, I think you're all probably aware that the state, Will Rogers State Beach, is owned by the state of California, and as a result, this project is owned by the state of California. And as a result of that, even though it's in the city of Los Angeles, because of the concept of sovereign immunity, the city does not have any jurisdiction as far as the project is concerned. So from day one, since we responded to the RFP and through the process that we've gone through to date, it has basically been the city and the state that have had the authority to oversee our project process. I think that's created some confusion as far as the community is concerned. It appears that there have been some comments made, at least in via the media, that somehow AB 178 may have taken away rights from the community for input. But that's just not the case. The AB 178 actually came about as a result of a issue raised by the Coastal Commission about the city having jurisdiction or not. And so I think that someone in the state just decided to put that to bed with the passage of AB 178. So I just want to clarify that. And I know at the end of this, my presentation will open up for questions, and we can talk further about that or anything that you need to. With that, I'm going to share my screen now, and just give me a second to get to my file here. Let me see. That's not what I want. Sorry. Let me go to my desktop.
No rush.
Yeah, I'll get there. Technologically being challenged as far as that goes. But let me find what I'm hopefully looking for, because I know it's on here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe taking a time for it to show up on my screen. Here we go. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let me move forward the file. This is just an introductory screen. So the next item I'd like to address is Big Blue Bus and the Metro extension, if you will, of a turnaround onto the site. So you all may remember that when the RFP was issued, it included a bus turnaround and stop and in a resting place for the drivers on site. Apparently that came from the community. It was requested by the community, so it was included by the county in the RFP. Since then, recently, with SB 79 having passed, I understand that there is now a concern that that turnaround may trigger SB 79 for the area. So we've done a lot of investigation. I know the county has put out letters related to it. I think certain state representatives have put out letters reflecting or responding to it. But this is a graphic of the existing bus routes that both Metro have and that Big Blue Bus have through the community. The blue is the Big Blue Bus, the orange is the Metro. As you can see, the dotted line in blue from Marquez on down is the extension that will allow for the turnaround of Big Blue Bus. Right now, Big Blue Bus turns around at the Marquez Loop, which is noted on the screen. So the solid blue goes from there. That's also where their bus drivers rest. They pull over to the side. And it's apparently not been a very well functioning system for a long time, and they've been requesting to have the opportunity to turn around. At the same time, as you can see by the orange, what Metro has to do right now for their loop is that they basically have to come down to Mescal Canyon with passengers on board that want to get off at different Sunset stops. Then they go along PCH, and then they take a right on Sunset and go back up Sunset to drop people off. So again, what all this basically does is extend both of them to the opportunity to come onto our site and turn around and basically go back up Sunset without either, in Metro's case, having to go through that extensive side trail, and in Big Blue Bus's case, just a extension of their already existing line, allowing and enabling the turnaround and for the bus drivers to have a rest. So again, I'll move on here, and then we can come back to questions afterwards. As far as the project comparisons are concerned, there were a lot of misinformation that was going about the size of the square footage of the building, the reduction in parking, et cetera. So I put together a graphic here to hopefully explain it all. So at the top, you'll see that the Gladstones current situation, the county RFP approval, that was when we got the approval, the presentation that we made to the county and to the community as far as what our project envisioned, and then the current project design. So as you can see, starting from the restaurant seating, the Gladstone seating is 707 seats. At one time, all of those seats were being filled pretty regularly. I think Gladstones is much more a shadow of its own self right now of what it was, and I don't think there's a pathway to coming back. And I think that's what's led to the opportunity that we have right now. As far as our RFP is concerned, we basically responded with 560 seats in our project plan, and our current design is now 450 seats. So as you can see, we have about a 257. I'm looking at a hard time seeing what the number is there, but I'll pull it up on my own screen. A 257 seat reduction between what Gladstones is today and what we are proposing. The second part of this is the restaurant footprint. So you keep hearing about a 12,000 square foot restaurant being replaced by a 17,000 square foot restaurant. So there are two parts to this. There's basically what the building area and the building area footprint is, which is the first floor, if you will, of both restaurants. So the building area footprint of Gladstones right now is 12,000 square feet of building and 7,900 square foot of an operating deck. The deck is an integral part of the operation of the restaurant. So the total restaurant operation right now is 19,991 square feet, not 12,091 square feet. Any of you who've been there notice that you come in on the deck and you can sit on the deck as well as within the restaurant. Our county approval project was 17,860 square feet, also on one story. We did have a second story bar contemplated, but the main restaurant operation was all on the ground floor at 17,860 square feet. For a combination of reasons on the design, which I'll get into later on when I show you that, we had to reduce our footprint down to 9,600 square feet for the first floor footprint and transition to a two-story building. So our now ground floor is 9,601 square feet of building, and we have an 1,850 square foot patio as part of the restaurant. That's separate from the public deck, which we'll talk about and have talked about. You've seen about, but I'll get into in a second. So our total square footage of our first floor footprint is 11,500 square feet versus 19,991 square feet. So we have about an 8,500 square feet reduction in actual building footprint. As far as the total size of the restaurant is concerned, again, Gladstones is 19,991 square feet. Again, our county RFP approval was 17,860. Our now added 5,741 square foot second story puts us at a total square footage of 17,242 square feet. Again, 2,750 square feet plus or minus reduction from current Gladstones. We also now have a dedicated public deck. So Gladstones has a shared public deck and restaurant deck where because of the requirements of the Coastal Commission, anybody could actually come onto, I apologize about the spelling, but anybody could come onto the shared deck and just sit and enjoy the sunset or the beach without having to purchase anything. So it's operated jointly as a shared public deck and a restaurant deck. They have no separate food and beverage outlet. They have zero separate public seating. Again, the seating is shared with the restaurant itself. And the size of the deck, and they have two public restrooms. The size of the deck area that is devoted to seating for the public and is generally accepted as their public deck square footage is 3,300 square feet. Our RFP approval, basically, we had a 2,700 square foot deck with 100 seats and a separate food and beverage, and we've maintained that. So our current project design, again, has a dedicated public deck separate and apart from the restaurant, totally dedicated to the public and beachgoer with 100 seats and two restrooms. And it's 2,700 square feet, and we have a food and beverage outlet and a small retail shop. As far as the parking lot is concerned, again, that was another issue that was raised. The current number of parking spaces in the current lot is 212 spaces. We came back at 179 spaces for our then 560 seats, and we now have 141 spaces for our 450 seats. That equates to, in Gladstone's existing situation, 3.33 restaurant seats per parking space. In our RFP approval was 3.13, and what we are now at design, or current design, is 3.19. So as you can see, we're in a very comparable situation, notwithstanding the fact that we've added the Big Blue Bus turnaround into the parking lot. Bottom line on it is that the Gladstone's current parking lot was designed to accommodate the 707 seats that were originally built, as well as the beachgoers, et cetera. Anybody that goes there now, you can see that it's never a full lot, et cetera. But we have more than sufficient parking to accommodate both our restaurant operation as well as the beachgoers and as well as the public deck users. And in addition to that, have the Big Blue Bus and Metro the Big Blue Bus and Metro stops on site to bring people to the beach. As far as the rest of it is concerned, I won't spend the time right now on electric vehicles, et cetera. But again, those are all positives you can see. As far as the coastal path is concerned, there's a current coastal path along the Gladstones that's 790 feet long and it has 4 feet wide. We're going to be 1,160 feet long and it's going to be 10 feet wide. So again, another another positive as far as the project is concerned. Now, the existing Gladstones parking lot operation you've all been to, I believe. Basically, you pull into 4 lanes and you then stop at an attendant and you tell the attendant what you're doing, and then you either pay for what you are, whether it's valet parking or where you're going to self-park or whatever, and you pull forward. It's a very awkward operation right now as far as the existing operation is concerned. Our operation is going to accommodate all players on a much more convenient basis. So anybody valet parking is going to take a hard right into a loop that I'll show you further later, relative to the restaurant, and could pull around to valet park and only valet park. So or if you want to drop anybody off. So if you have a drop off at the beach or the public deck, or a drop off for the restaurant, you can also pull in and drop people off. So it's totally separate and apart from the rest of the operation of the parking lot, which, as you can see, with the Big Blue Bus turnaround is for the bus turnaround, but the public can pull into the front parking lot, which is self-parking only, and or to the rear parking lot. And there'll be, instead of an attendant or whatever, there'll be pay stations for people to pay to get in to the exit lot. They'll pay according to hourly rates as opposed to full day rates, or that goes. So the operation is going to be much more straightforward and simpler for vehicles, depending upon what their purposes of going to the property. As far as Caltrans is concerned, you may have heard that Caltrans has noted to somebody or some of you that we need a Caltrans permit. I met with Caltrans 5 years ago. They said to me at that time, if you don't need to encroach on the right of way, you don't need a permit. They said it also, if you don't need us, we don't need you. I have now recently reconnected with Caltrans, and they have said the same thing in writing. If you don't encroach on the right of way, you don't need a permit. We have specifically designed the project to not encroach upon the right of way. All of the project operation, functions, et cetera, sits within the project site. These lines show the existing right of way, and although it's a little bit difficult to see, I will assure you that none of our project encroaches anywhere on the PCH right of way. So those are some clarification items. Now I'd like to get into the presentation of the project. First of all, I say again that Wolfgang and Frank are tremendously excited with what's being proposed here, what's being presented here. So we basically look about it, introducing the collaboration of 2, as you can see, internationally revered individuals, creating an awe-inspiring culinary destination in a scenic beach setting. It's going to be the world's first and only Frank Gehry designed, Wolfgang operated fine dining restaurant, cocktail bar, and public deck in the world. It's located on the iconic Will Rogers State Beach, as you all know. The vision that they have in joining forces is to collaborate on creating memories. We basically have said, the 3 of us since the beginning, that we needed to replace an existing memory with a new memory. There's tremendous affection for Gladstones. We understand that. We want to honor that. But in doing so, we want to present something new and special here that both of them are presenting. You're all aware of the site, but this will give you an idea of what you seeing it from the aerial view, seeing what it offers as far as a landmark setting. In that setting, obviously, none of us can beat the ocean view and the sunsets and all other elements related to it. So, in effect, it creates a canvas for them to join forces on in creating this special new place. The sense of arrival, it'll start with the sense of arrival when you arrive. And again, you can come around the valet loop and valet park to go to the restaurant, or to valet park to go to the beach, or to the public deck, and have that experience, except you can also self-park, as mentioned before. And the the project design is something special that will open up the view corridors through to the beach and to the ocean from both the first floor and the second floor. The first floor here, as you can see, all of those windows open totally along the whole frontage there to create the open air indoor outdoor element. Wolfgang's mission statement for the project is evident: a strong waterfront destination that brings originality and authenticity to the art of cuisine, delivers culinary excellence in a casual, family-friendly environment. He is intent on making both the public deck and the restaurant as receptive and inviting to the community and to the public as possible. And any of you who have experienced him know he is a very wonderful human being, very engaging, very warm, and just a tremendous person. I'm proud to be his partner on that. Again, just adding to some of the project's elements as far as that goes. The interiors are going to be very specially designed and specially purposed for establishing the atmosphere that will just extend out beyond to the architectural design and to the setting. We're also going to have, I mentioned, a dedicated public deck, as you can see, and I'll show you again further on the site plan. It is totally separate entrance and accessible from the restaurant itself, distinct from the restaurant. It will have its own food and beverage takeout window type operation, as well as a small retail space for sundries and for hats and things that people might need for the beach. And then of course, the 2 public restrooms. And it will offer, just like the restaurant, will offer a opportunity to just sit and watch and enjoy the sunset without having the requirement to purchase anything. So anybody can come, bring their own food, or just sit there and relax if they want to while going to the beach or not. As far as the site plan is concerned, you can basically see the orientation of the parking here that I was mentioning previously. As you come in, if you move to the east or the south, whichever way you want to look at it, at this point in time, PCH is going east and west. If you move to the east, you can then self-park and come out and move along the coastal path and down the ramp down to the beach or to the public deck, which again is separately operated. Or you can move around the valet loop and drop off your car and go to the restaurant. There's the existing curb cuts and the existing left turn lane from PCH is sufficient. It was designed for the larger restaurant, so it's sufficient to accommodate getting into the property for any vehicle. And at the same time, the valet loop was designed to stack almost double the amount of cars that is projected to at any given time be coming in there, even at peak time periods. So we engaged Kimley Horn, who is a traffic engineer, to basically work with us on designing this valet loop such that there's no backup onto PCH curb. As far as the first floor of the restaurant is concerned, again, if you look at the numbers, that 12. Let me get up here and I'll so I can read it better. I'm getting on my screen as opposed to this screen because it's a little small for me to read on the screen. Bear with me for a minute here. So if you look at number 17 and 18 on this, that is the food and beverage outlet and the retail outlet for the public deck, the dedicated public deck, and number 16 is a dedicated public deck. You can see it's separate, and maybe I can make that bigger for you. You can see, so you can see that it's totally separate, located from the restaurant itself. The restaurant entrance is actually behind those buildings. So number 17 is the food and beverage outlet. The public restrooms are situated between that and the retail outlet, and number 18 is the retail outlet. There's a walkway that comes onto the area behind them that leads to the entrance. Number one is the entrance to the restaurant. So there is no way for any confusion. There's no way for any interference as far as that goes. The restaurant itself, the finished floor, is actually 3.5 feet higher than the public deck. The public deck is at the same level as the coastal path, which is basically the pathway that you can see along the frontage of the public deck. And it actually goes along the frontage of the restaurant at 3.5 feet below the restaurant finished floor elevation. The finished floor elevation of the restaurant is 23 feet above sea level. That was specifically designed to accommodate the possible sea level rise in the future. But in doing so, it is also at the same level as PCH. So there's no walkway difference other than this 3.5 feet that we're increasing the level of the restaurant itself. As far as the restaurant itself is concerned, there is a bar area initially when you come in to the restaurant, where again there's plenty of seating for people that just want to enjoy the view and the beach and the ocean. We're probably going to have televisions at the bar so that anybody that might want to come and enjoy a game or whatever else might be on. The seating for the restaurant is twofold. And there's number 4 is the interior seating with, again, all of the frontage opening up onto the beach and the ocean from the interior. But in addition to that, number 3s are 2 patios that's also going to be served by the restaurant, which are located outdoors, totally outdoors. But they'll have coverage from the sun and the elements. And then the back of the house has the Wolfgang's domain as far as restaurant. The kitchen area and the employee lockers, etc. Right. Let's see if I can get that down to. The second floor is I can't. It won't widen too easily. But the second floor is basically for banquet dining or private dining to accommodate events or the people that want to have a special place to gather that is separate and apart from the downstairs restaurant itself. And again, the whole facade of the beach side of the restaurant opens up for the viewing. This gives you some idea of the look of it as far as the elevations are concerned, looking at it from the beach, looking at it from PCH, looking at it from up coast again is heading west at this point on PCH or north. Looking down coast is heading south and towards the east. These will give you a few views of the whole project itself from different angles, design, and then that's it. So thank you for the opportunity, and I guess we can turn to questions if that would be desired.
Okay, that's great. And then I know someone, Tom, is here from Beaches and Harbors. So if they want to jump in at any point to help answer a question, that would be great.
Certainly
we'll
will as
start.
well. Thank you, Chair.
Pardon me?
I said I
What?
certainly will. Any questions
Okay.
that we can or I can
Great,
answer.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris Spitz, you have your hand up.
Thank you so much. First of all, Tom, thanks for coming. It's been a long time. We wish
Great, thank you. It's nice seeing you, Chris, again. Nice seeing you.
Thank you. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I've been on the board for probably 15 years. It's hard to believe. I've followed this throughout. I know we were asking for many years for a bus turnaround. May not be quite what is now being proposed. I won't get into that. I do want to ask a couple of questions. Tom, I wish we'd had more opportunity to speak with you and Beaches and Harbors about this earlier, but that's water under the bridge. Here are my questions. First, you mentioned that as far as AB 178, the trailer bill, this is what we're talking about, the trailer bill to the budget bill that year, which is 2024. That bill, basically, my reading of it, which did change the resources code, that bill basically excludes this project and this project alone from city, county, local regulations and laws other than, of course, getting county approval and Coastal Commission approval. Now, you mentioned that only city and state have jurisdiction over this. I don't mean to be argumentative, but the county also does. The county has been involved from day one. That's why beaches and harbors are here. That's why Supervisor Kuehl and then now Supervisor Horvath were involved. So they're part of the whole process. So I have a question that actually I was asked to ask by a news outlet that couldn't be here, but I actually have the same or similar questions. The question is, who brought this to the governor's office, this being the trailer bill, to the governor's office, which in turn brought it to the legislature? What person or entity brought that to the governor's office and why?
Yeah, so Chris, I appreciate you asking me that. I'm just going to respond to that by saying I think that inquiry has been made at the state level to understand that, and I think that responses may be coming as far as from the state. All I'm going to say about the subject is that your initial comments were a bit inaccurate, so I want to reiterate again as far as that goes. The city does not have jurisdiction, has never had jurisdiction. The bottom line on it is that this is a state-owned property, and the state is basically enjoys sovereign immunity over city jurisdiction as far as that goes. So the county administers the property and all of Will Rogers State Beach on behalf of the state. So when the subject arose as to whether or not the city would have jurisdiction, it arose from the Coastal Commission. The state decided to clarify it. That's all I can say and I'm going to say on it.
So you can't say who, in terms of.
I'm not going. I'm not. Yeah. I've said what I'm going to say, Chris.
Okay. So will we be getting those answers at some point? Do you think?
Listen. As far as I can say and respond as far as that goes, all that happened from that AB 178 was that clarification that enabled the project to move forward and to move forward with the authorities that had jurisdiction, county and the Coastal Commission. And that's where.
So can anyone here, like Beaches and Harbors or the representative Supervisor Horvath, provide that information for us? Or do we need to follow up later? I don't want to take up too much time with this.
Chris, this is Gary Jones with Beaches and Harbors. No, I can confirm what Tom stated in terms of the county's role in this and our understanding that, this has been a project site that the county, through its administration of the concession agreement, has had its role as approval authority. And as Tom stated, that was the trailer bill clarified that position. But the county does have the role in administering the.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not disputing that. Of course, we know that. But we're just trying to get at how this trailer bill came about. But I guess we're not going to get an answer tonight. We'll just have to keep digging if it's possible. So thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Weird.
Nina Maddock, you're next.
Thanks, everybody. And I apologize, I'm in the middle of cooking dinner. Mr. Tellison, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate you being here. Wanted to ask you a question specifically. The timing of the trailer bill. I'm assuming that happened when the state parks became a co-applicant to the at the request of the Coastal Commission. Is that correct?
Well, I can't answer the question specifically, but I will frame it for what I remember as far as that goes. The Coastal Commission, which I guess is another state agency, basically expressed the opinion that the city had jurisdiction. That became known to the state, and as you just noted, the state is also a co-applicant. The state has always been ready to be a co-applicant on on the application to the
Well-
coastal development permit. But
I have in front of me an email from
Yeah.
Janet Torres dated April 18th, Friday, April 18th, saying that they've been informed by the current applicants that State Parks is amenable to becoming a co-applicant to the application.
yeah, so Nina, that what happened there basically is that we and Department of Beaches and Harbor didn't believe that or feel that the state needed to be a co-applicant. So we submitted an application without the state on the application itself. And the Coastal Commission and Janet, which you just read, came back and basically requested that the state join in the application. And so again, as the owner of the land. And so I can't remember, the Beaches and Harbor may have gone to them. Somebody went to I think it was Beach and Harbor went to the state and asked them to join as co-applicant, and they agreed to do that.
Okay, and that's Eric Hernandez from Parks, from the State Parks was the person who handled that for them, correct?
Gary, I don't know if you know that specific. I can't.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. One of the reasons why I was interested in that email is that's the first time that I've seen that I saw in the correspondence where the reference to the bus, because I'm interested in SB 79, was first referred to as transportation stations. Commissioner Torres, or I guess she's an assistant to the commissioners or a staff person, said the proposed development is the demolition of the existing restaurant, shared public deck, construction of new restaurant, and dedicated public deck, Big Blue Bus, and Metro public transportation stations. And this is my concern is between that reference and then the October 3rd letters from Metro and from Jackie Irwin that all refer to it not as a bus turnaround, but bus stations. And given the passage of SB 79, that's why we are concerned.
I totally understand that. You know. I'm concerned too, by the way. I just want you to, I don't mean to interrupt you, Nina. I just want you to be aware that we have no intent of enabling that to trigger SB 79. It does not. We've had it clarified from attorneys. We've had it clarified from the state itself, from different parties, that the current wording of SB 79, that this is merely a replacement of an existing bus turnaround and an existing bus stop with a new bus turnaround that's been in existence, that's been in play for 8 years now since RFP.
Well, that's great. So if you could, I would like to get a letter from you and from the co-applicant and from Beaches and Parks that in the event that some developer decides that they want to invoke SB 79, that you would be willing to handle the attorney's fees or be party to us opposing such a development.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I can't do that either. We're basically a restaurant operation. We don't have the resources for something like that.
Well, and I understand, Commissioner Horvath, not Commissioner, Supervisor Horvath said to me that her impression was that somebody told her that SB 79 didn't apply because it was privately owned land. Well, you and I both know that it's not a privately owned land. The land is owned by the state and operated by the county. So SB 79 would clearly apply. And there's nothing in SB 79 that says a privately owned property.
Yeah, Nina, I just want to clarify, and I can say this as far as that goes. This bus turnaround and bus stop, and it was a part of the RFP, was imposed on the project as part of the RFP process from day one. So it's not something that I in any way have insisted on having in the project. I now understand that its benefits and its value to Big Blue Bus and those that use Big Blue Bus. I understand why the community requested it. I do understand how it is distinguished from what SBS, the actual provisions of SB 79. That's been clarified by several letters from different parties and in statements from different parties. Anybody that tries to invoke SB 79 because of this, I think will lose. But I just want to clarify for you as far as that goes. It wasn't something that I came to the project or the community and said, we want to put this in there and you know, you have to agree to it.
Well,
This was the community
Nina, we have to
that
move on.
wanted it. The
Okay,
community is the
I
one that
just,
wanted it.
I just would say, I'd love to see those letters that say that SB 79 doesn't apply, because
Yeah, I
that post-dated the project. So if you could provide us those letters that says
Yeah.
it does not apply, that would be great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Chair, could I just add something to what Tom's just said in response
Sure,
to the
sure.
comment?
Yeah.
My understanding that it isn't, it doesn't trigger SB 79 because it's not a transit orientated development stop, and specifically is not a major transit stop as defined by the Public Resources Code, and doesn't meet the bus services standards per the
Yeah, that's not
legislation.
correct, but okay,
But
that's okay.
let's keep in mind that SB 79 requires that the Southern California SCAG, Southern California Association of Governments, will create the official map.
Yes, and I've reached out to them already, and they said that they can't comment on it until the law was passed. So I'm already in communication with them and waiting
Right.
for them to provide the maps.
I was going to suggest that maybe that group or somebody from that group could provide confirmation to your council and to us all that there aren't elements of this project that would trigger.
That's fine. We just need a commitment from all of these people who are orally saying it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, to put it in writing. And that's what I'm asking for today.
Okay, thanks, Nina. We're gonna move on. Jessica, you're next.
Hi, good night.
Hi.
So thank you so much for being here. Sadly, it's a few years too late for a lot of us, especially the residents who live close by, and all of us in the Palisades who now are dealing with a major disaster and now construction at Gladstones at the same time and didn't have an opportunity to have any say in the process. So I appreciate you showing up now and having to listen to us. I'm sure it's quite painful potentially. I heard a few things said. You said you're just a restaurant. I'll say you're definitely not just a restaurant. You're definitely somebody who is very well connected to our local politicians, because you were able to get this amazing project through without any public interception. So congratulations on you for that. My question is that, you know, you say that you have there's nothing for you to do in terms of this big debate about SB 79. And I think you're right to be concerned about it. You are, because it has language in there that is very uncertain for a lot of us. And just like you were very capable of getting what you wanted accomplished and pushed through, our local politicians are very capable of that as well. And then what happens is, and I think why Nina Maddock was asking you for financial support in case we need a legal battle, is that then it becomes on the residents to put forward legal battles to protect the community, to protect your restaurant so you can end your business, so that you can thrive and we can all thrive. And that is very problematic for us all. And so I'm saying, if you have such incredible connections, I would definitely expect you to use them in the benefit of the whole community, which will benefit your restaurant.
And I'd like to, if I could just interrupt you for 1 second, I will respond to that. I live in the community as well. I think you may have heard that or know that. And I respect everything, all the concerns that are being expressed here. As I said, Jessica, previously, and say again, as far as this wasn't my idea to add this. I don't believe SB 79 as written does apply. If somebody does try and invoke SB 79, I will join with you in exploring what we can do to oppose it. And I do want to go on record for everybody on this call that this was not my idea, and this was not something that I would have built into this project. That being said, I
I wasn't
understand it.
implying you would, because it makes absolutely no sense for your business to wish to have SB 79 unless you plan on building,
No.
you know, massive buildings up and down Sunset Boulevard, and then that might potentially benefit you. So, you mentioned the trailer bill. A lot of people on this call, actually, it's probably not true. I was about to say something that's probably not true. Maybe most people or many people on this call know that how trailer bills work, how they get shoved into another bill, hidden underneath paperwork, and there's very little time, sometimes, you know, 24-hour turnaround for anybody to actually see that there's a trailer bill attached to a bill. I find it still incredibly perplexing that when Chris Fitz asks you questions about it, you're very quiet. The truth will come out. We will find out how this came about. And the sooner we know and the sooner people are transparent about it, the fewer stories will get created around it and the less animosity you're going to have in building your project. And which, by the way, this is what's so sad about this. We need positive buildings. You know, Wolfgang was so excited. He gave them the best speech ever at the Coastal Commission. And sadly, I was so hurt by the fact that you would not give us a voice that I could not participate in that joy. And so here we are, unable to participate in your joy because we're trying to make sure that we're looking for the greatest benefit of our community and not just the benefit of your establishment. So you mentioned something about Caltrans. I wanted to ask you a question about that because I was the one who brought up Caltrans at the Coastal Commission, and you said adamantly, absolutely not. I showed you my phone. I pointed to the phone. I said, I've got emails here that says Caltrans absolutely should be involved. Another perplexing point, how could you possibly want to build anything right now at the intersection where our children had to cross through? A gentleman showed a video of him walking his child. I was in tears. It was awful having to relive that moment when that was where we were evacuating on foot. Why would we not want a study? Why would you not want a study saying, don't worry, our building of our establishment is not going to impact our safety. We are coming into the community, we're building something good, and we are going to assure that we are not going to get in the way of your safety and the safety of your children. I don't understand that. I get you've got legal issues, but if you really cared about doing what's best for everyone and protecting your establishment, you would definitely be looking into a study. And as a member of this community, even more so. So my question to you about the Caltrans, relationship with the border, the line where Caltrans comes in onto your parking lot, yes or no? Does your driveway not interfere with Caltrans?
We're using the existing driveway. So as far as that subject is concerned, bottom line on it is that Caltrans from day one and now has reiterated it, basically operates according to the law, and the law is basically if you are encroaching on a Caltrans right of way, then you need a Caltrans permit. If you're not, you don't. And basically, I designed the project to all be self-contained within the site itself, so that we would not need a Caltrans permit. So that's just another factor. I'd like to go back to what you said earlier, though, because you expressed some of these thoughts also at the Coastal Commission. I'm sorry about how you personally feel, but I do want to clarify for everybody on this call, and I'd like it to also be clear. I'm sorry.
Sorry, everybody mute, please. Who's not speaking? Please make sure you're muted.
I would like to clarify for everybody on this call again. I didn't seek to go around any process. Wolfgang and I responded to an RFP with a very exciting project that you're all very aware of. Basically, I've just showed you that the project we envisioned in that RFP response basically had a larger program by 100 seats than what we now have, substantially less than the existing Gladstones program. And the actual layout of the parking lot is virtually identical to what we presented in that RFP. So as far as from where we are today, from back then, we basically are presenting the same site plan with some adjustments that needed to be made for addressing concerns that the community might have. As far as the process is concerned, Jessica, the process has always been, regardless of AB 178, whatever you want to think about AB 178, it did nothing more than clarify what is the law, the process of the law. The state owns the property and is not subject to city codes. It's just a reality. Now, I didn't make that law. I didn't vote. I went basically through the process. The process was a public process. There was plenty of opportunity. It was a very visible process. All of you have seen a number of times the media covering the project as far as that. So as much as I understand and appreciate your feelings on the subject as far as that goes, I don't agree with.
This isn't about my feelings, Tom. I just to not completely insult everybody on this call. I'm going to try not to be insulted, so they're not as insulted as I'm feeling right now. We had less than a few weeks ago, we had the city of Los Angeles come to us with Beaches and Harbor and every other, and the Coastal Commission and their Board of Engineers, and the list of organizations and departments that were involved in this call, all to talk to about a bridge that will potentially be built between 2028 and 2032. And guess what? They gave us a long list of dates of how many times they're going to appear at our community and answer our questions and present us with options and involve us in the process. Why? Because they don't want this. They don't want to have to go through this process, and they don't want to have any legal battles in place. And they also don't want, honestly, they don't want to gaslight us the way you are right now. And
Jessica, I'm going to have to
I'm
get you to
done,
stop because
but
I've got
thank
other
you for your
people with their
time.
hands up. Beth?
And please show us a little bit more respect. And by the way, Lindsay Vorath did not show her face tonight.
Okay, Beth, we're up to you.
Hi, Mr. Tollefson. I was here in 2021 when you came to present to us earlier. As you know, things have changed since then. We've had a major fire. Malibu's burned down, Palisades burned down. People are trying to recover their lives. Today's LA Times talked about how embers were still going and there wasn't enough, or there was a lot of cross signals about safety. So this community is still very concerned about their safety. This is a major thoroughway. And yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a nice restaurant? But we are all very concerned still about safety. Had this fire happened in the middle of the night, many of us would be dead right now, just plain simple. And so all these meetings that happened without this very engaged community is incredibly concerning and incredibly hurtful. And I told my daughter about this even, and she's like, why does Wolfgang Puck need more money? This makes no sense. Why would they do that to us?
Do you have a question, Beth? Do you have
No,
a
I was going to say, you're saying Gladstones isn't doing well. Again, I asked Lindsay Horvath, how is this good for the Palisades community? Please tell us that.
Okay.
It-
Tom,
Is
how's it
that, is that your question? How is it good for
No,
the Palisades
no.
community? Listen, I can only answer that question from the standpoint of our perspective, Wolfgang and my perspective, and Frank's perspective in responding to an RFP that was issued. I mentioned the wording, we want to replace a memory with a memory. Gladstones has a incredible history, but it's now fallen on hard times. But the bottom line on it is that the county made a decision to terminate Gladstones and to reach out to operators for replacing it. And that's what Wolfgang and Frank and I responded to. And so what we are proposing here is something that I think will be special as far as the community is concerned. And the community will be welcome as far as having a place coming to it and having a place to use it. I don't know, Beth, how else to answer that? I'm sorry, Chris, is there?
No, I'm just
Sue,
gonna,
you're muted.
I just feel like we're competing against the
I was
Competing
trying to,
against the Olympics, and that's
I didn't want you to hear the
frustrating.
dogs. Okay, we're gonna move on to Cindy Young. Sorry, I was muted. If Cindy's here.
Cindy Young, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Unmute. Sorry about that.
Okay.
First of all, Nina Maddox said it so well. The county and the state have hijacked this process to further their desires for a transit station. My concern as co-chair of the task force on homelessness is that the particular beach next to where Gladstones exists is a mecca for the homeless. And now you're putting in a transit station, which is only going to increase the amount of population that comes from downtown LA to Pacific Palisades. This is worrisome. And I wondered if this was something that you had considered when you were putting in this proposal.
Am I mistaken, or did we already say this isn't a transit station?
Yes, it's not a transit station. And
Well,
and again, all I can respond to that is, again, with the facts. The RFP required a bus turnaround for Big Blue Bus and Metro in the response, and we've included it. There has not been an opportunity since then to change that. And my understanding, and Gary, I don't know if you want to respond to this as well, but my understanding is that this is something that the community has wanted. And in looking at it from the perspective of the possibility of SB 79, et cetera, right now there is an existing bus route that only a half a mile away, or whatever it is, 3/4 of a mile away, has the existing functions that will happen on this property happening in the community at Marquez. So all that's going to happen is that instead of turning around there, they're going to turn around on this property site. And as far as bringing people to the response, as far as bringing people from locations that possibly are not desirable, that the buses do that now. The Metro bus stops here. The Big Blue Bus has a line that stops here. They just stop on PCH as far as that goes. So all I can tell you again is that this was a requirement of the project. And so that requirement we had to address and build into it in order to be able to move forward.
no, I understand that. And that's not something I can fault you for. I can fault the county and the city for that. However, you have just added bait to something that we don't need. We have a task force that comes out there to try to engage and get people the help they need. We don't have a task force big enough for what's going to be happening because of the bus stop. So, okay, second question. Did you at all consult Castellamar community about the light and sound impairment of a second story? I'm not even talking about the view impairment, but the light and sound that's going to be coming out of the second story for the private parties. Was that even brought up? Was it even considered?
Yes, absolutely. We are designed to mute the sound, and the light there will not be any light emitting back to the community. Absolutely.
Good, I will inform them. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Miriam?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sue. I was at the Coastal Commission hearing, and something that jumped out at me was the fact that some of the commissioners were willing to disaggregate these two projects and to see the bus depot separately from the Gladstones restaurant project. And I wonder, and I want to note that when we, Tom, when we heard you and your team speak, there was a lot said about your ties to the community, as well as the fact that everything is being done for the community and with the community in mind. And, you know, generally with these undertones that this would be good for the community. So with all of that, knowing all of that, my question is, can you support us to appeal to the Coastal Commission and to ask Lindsay Horvath to support disaggregating these two projects so that we can hear more, learn more, get more assurances that have to do with the bus issue and the SB 79 concerns that the community has, and separate them from your project.
I can answer it this way as far as that goes. Our project's process has been subject to the county and the state review. As I mentioned, this bus turnaround and stop has basically been imposed since the RFP. I don't feel comfortable basically committing right now to go one way or another on it, because I've just spent 8 years designing this project and bringing this project to fruition, during which time basically I have been very diligent in addressing all the concerns that have been expressed from various sources as to that needed to be addressed as far as the project is concerned. So my answer to the question, I'll say again this way. I am receptive to participating in a process like that if the community wants to embark on it with the with the county and or the state.
Okay.
I just can't commit to anything right now to change being able to move forward with this project after 8 years.
Okay. Thank you, Sue, for letting me speak. I just want to make the comment that the idea came to me because there were at least 2 commissioners who made that suggestion at the Coastal Commission meeting. They elected not to vote that way, but I think that there is some room there for us to, as a community, for us to push. And so it's good to know, Tom, that you would be on our side, or at least you would not be opposed. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Miriam. Chris Betts, one more time.
Well, I don't want to take up time. I know there's others.
I know, just,
All right, real quick. Can you, Tom, provide us with a copy of the letter you mentioned that you received from Caltrans? That would be very helpful. Would you commit to that?
Yes, it's actually an email.
Okay,
yeah.
so send that to Sue, and then we can take a look at that. And also, would you provide the slides that you prepared, that you showed us tonight separately? I know we're going to be putting up a recording, but it's very hard to see those slides that way. So can you please separately send the slides?
You send the slides from my presentation?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I think
Yeah, please.
I think I should be able to do that. Sorry.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. Sharon,
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
sure can.
I have 2 questions. I was a past co-chair, bouncing off of Cindy, of the Homeless Task Force, and I'm still very active. In fact, I'm working with a gentleman in your proposed parking lot right now, removing his belongings that have accumulated. He's a nice guy, but he has a beat up truck there too. But just so you know, that was pre-fire a hotspot for a lot of unhoused individuals where your restaurant is. We do a lot of work there on trying to help people. Most people don't want the help. But my question is to you is, have you done a traffic study of that intersection? Because it is one of the highest rates of accidents. We've had deaths, et cetera, et cetera. The second question is, because you're going to have a public deck there, are you going to provide security for your restaurant as well as that public deck area? Because I will tell you that you will have a lot of unhoused individuals that will try to sleep on your deck and just hang out and use the facility. So I've been doing this since 2014. I know a lot about our unhoused individuals, and a lot of them don't want to accept services. They want to live on the beach, and they love your proposed site. So,
so Sharon Browning's a real close friend of mine, and I basically have shared. She has shared with me, and we've talked about that subject a lot. So again, and great job you guys have done in the community with since the start. It's really amazing. I actually spoke with Sharon about trying to expand your reach to other parts of the city because of how successful you've been. So I do appreciate that. Yes, we are going to have security as far as both the with everything, with the restaurant, the public deck, and the parking lot. Yes, and I'm sorry, I forgot your first question. I apologize.
Oh, the traffic study, because of the.
We didn't do a traffic study, nor did we need to. You know, once again, the current design of the parking lot and the facility was based upon a 707 square seat restaurant, and we are 250 seats less than that. So as far as impact, everything that's been on PCH has been designed for the 707 seats as far as the site is concerned.
I was just letting you know, it's a very dangerous intersection.
No, I
We've
understand. I understand.
had a lot of
Look,
accidents.
I want to be clear as far as Caltrans is concerned. I have no problem working with Caltrans as far as that goes, and I actually am going to go meet with them. I am just basically the Caltrans process in its own right is its own nightmare as far as that goes, and notwithstanding maybe all of your personal views tonight or the personal views that have been expressed as far as that goes. We have been at 8 years at this as far as processing this through county, the various county parts of the process as well as the state process, and as you all know, the Coastal Commission process. So through that, basically, I started from the perspective that we are designing something that is substantially less in size than what exists right now, and therefore have come from the perspective that I believe that will be a positive for the site as well as for the community as well as for traffic, et cetera. So that's the answer to the question.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're going to have private security there, because otherwise there will be problems. I can guarantee.
Very, very important. Yes.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, Diane.
Thank you for so much. Okay, so I actually live here. I've lived here my entire life, and I came back in February after the fire. And that corner of Sunset and PCH is a complete nightmare. First of all, a bunch of lights have been put in that are none of them are timed. Okay, but that's the least of our problems. More is that the bigger problem is they come down South PCH at 6:30 in the morning when I go to the hospital at 45, 50 miles an hour. So if you don't have a dedicated CPH officer, you're going to clip someone every morning. Okay, I can guarantee you that. And then coming home, even tonight when I drove home from work, bumper to bumper, because the 405 is a complete mess. So everyone from all the hospitals come on to Pacific Coast Highway, and you can't get home. Okay, it is a mess. So more importantly, then when it rains, as you know, since supposedly you live here, there is a natural river that flows from the top of Santa Ynez straight down to the mouth of Gladstones, and it will flood every year as it did last year. Okay, and so I will just say this: no traffic studies, absolutely no accommodation to anyone who lives here. There's 5,500 of us up here that you're
Diane,
now
do you have a
telling us.
question? Diane, do you have a question?
Yeah, the question is,
question?
why would you not come to the Highlands, which is one of the largest population that will be affected by this project, and have some sort of meeting? You did not care about us. You never came up here. We have no representation on Pacific
Okay, we're going to
Palisades
put an end.
Community Council.
Sorry, Diane.
Nothing.
Carmel. I'm sorry, Diane. You're done. Carmel.
Well, why didn't you come up?
Carmel, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a very specific question. It has to do with both parking and traffic studies. My understanding is because the restaurant is actually run quite differently, I suspect, than Gladstones has in the past. And part of a traffic study would be the impact that that particular restaurant has on the traffic in that specific area, as well as parking. And I'm just wondering if there could be a traffic study done, number one, and number two, if there could be comment made on parking, where the employees are going to be parking and where restaurant patrons will be parking, particularly since there are fewer parking stalls. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate that. As I explained, as far as that goes, there are fewer parking spaces, but there are much fewer seats. As I pointed out in the presentation I did, as far as that goes, there the number of seats per parking spaces is on par with what exists today. Again, we're dealing with a much bigger restaurant as far as today, what Gladstones is and what that parking lot was designed for. So as far as employee parkings are concerned, they will park on site, or we are also going to explore off-site parking for not only the employees, but also for any overflow that we might experience. That's a future consideration as far as that goes.
Can I ask you just as a follow-up for that, because maybe I'm not seeing something correctly. My understanding, the plans that I saw in the application of the Coastal Commission, weren't the parking stalls available to the public whittled down to like 50 or 75? That's all?
No,
For everybody? Am I wrong?
you're wrong. The entire
Okay.
lot's open to the public.
But how many stalls are in that revised parking lot? Because a lot was taken away from the turnaround. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's okay. There's a front parking lot that is self-parking only. It has 29 stalls in it. And then the rear parking lot is the balance. And it's got both self-parking stalls and or valet. We shared with the valet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Donna?
Thank you. I'm Donna Vaccarino. I'm president of the Pacific Palisades Historical Society, but since our board has not discussed this, I will only be speaking on my personal thoughts here. Tom, I want to thank you very much. In looking at this plan, I think appreciate extremely the reduction in size, but I really want to commend your design team on the flow of the project, the consolidation of it. And I think it shows really exemplary design talent. I think we're very lucky to have your team and not other developers that would not be so sensitive to the site and to the landscape and to the views. I know there's a lot of difficult issues in terms of accommodating a growing population. From a historical point of view, we have to remember, in the 20s and 30s and 40s, when commercial and residential projects were laid out on PCH, the population of Los Angeles was, 1 million or so. Now we have 7 or 8 million people in the city that want to come to the beach. And, that's part of the reemergence of the Palisades and how we're all going to learn to adapt to that. But I think your project helps us reimagine what the Palisades can do with good design. And so I'm really happy to see it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Donna. Okay. Is there anyone else that has a good question that hasn't yet been answered? And is there anyone from Supervisor Horvath's office that wants to add anything, or beaches and harbors? Oh, I'm sorry. There is one hand up. Is it Joe?
It's Joanna. Sorry.
Oh, Joanna, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I might be in there as Joe.
Okay.
But this might be a moot point, but I'm just curious, since so many of us are concerned about the what ifs regarding how SB 79 could be potentially applied or existing major. I know a turnaround was wanted, but would it be in our interest to not have the turnaround? And is a modification of that sort even a possibility at this stage?
Well, from the project's perspective, as far as that goes, it's designed into the project. I think if there were powers that be to change that that we would have to adjust. Again, I don't want to, I don't want to do anything here to extend the time frame on the project or to create any issues between the project and the county and Big Blue Bus and the state, et cetera. So I think the answer to that question would have to be explored with directly with the county.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And it is something we've been asking for quite a while, so we'll see. Jay Krugman,
Thank you. Can you hear me?
yes.
Great. My name is Jay and I live at Edgewater Towers across the street. I'm a regular at Gladstones. It seems to me that not doing a traffic study similar to the Jack in the Box project. Let's remember that for how many years did we have the COVID issue? Let's remember that for the last year, nobody's really living in that area based on the fire. And that corner is incredibly dangerous. And if you're simply going to say we don't need a traffic study because we've got the same amount of tables with Gladstones, for those of us who actually go to Gladstones, it's only somewhat crowded on Saturday and Sunday. During the week, there's no one there. You can always get a table. Now, you're going to have a new building in the Jack in the Box plot, and you're going to have all the people moving back across the 85 condos that are across the street from Jack in the Box. And there's going to be more of that. So simply to say, I would ask, how can you just compare tables to tables and not need to do a traffic study when in fact, Gladstones has been empty for 3 to 5 years? If you're going to make a property, which I'm sure you will, that's similar to the transition between the Chart House and the Steakhouse, if you go to that place at night, at 5 o'clock, it becomes a nightmare sticking out on PCH. It's another problem. That will happen here. So I would ask, is it disingenuous, sir, that just comparing Gladstone's tables to your tables, if you're just doing the business Gladstone did, you'll go under really quickly. You're going to be charging much more. There are going to be way more people. You're going to need more people paying to pay back the extreme costs of building this place. How can you credibly say no traffic study because it's table for table?
I'm not sure if that was a question there, but I'll just try and address it and maybe address some broader comments that have been made tonight, at least to put in perspective where we're coming from. Backing up for a second here, as far as that goes, when I went to Wolfgang Puck with this project a number of years ago, I went with the intent and desire to do something special here for the community. I looked at Gladstones, as you just noted, and I saw a tired, deteriorated facility that once was a tremendous place enjoyed by all. Wolfgang and I talked about, in bringing Frank Gehry on board, doing something here that everybody would be proud of. I want to just respond to everybody on the phone tonight by saying, we believe we've delivered that. In doing so, we've spent 8 years in process. As far as those 8 years are concerned, as far as that goes, had somebody said we require a traffic study, we would have done a traffic study. Why a traffic study was not required is very simple and very clear as far as that goes. We're putting in 250 seats less than what the existing design of the parking lot was designed for. And basically on top of that, there is this added Big Blue Bus Metro stop that people will take instead of driving, at least for maybe coming to the beach or the deck. that was information that was processed by us in design. As far as the design is concerned, and the layout is concerned, we've looked at this project from every which way that we can to make sure that it's beautiful, that it's inviting, it's engaging, it's enjoyable. It'll be a nice place for you to come. We separated out the separate public deck to offer the community a place to come where they don't have to buy something. They can enjoy the sunset, and they can enjoy a lesser meal or whatever as far as that goes. And we created that as far as we designed the parking lot to function substantially better than it currently functions as far as that goes. We designed the parking lot to not interfere with PCH, et cetera, as far as that goes. So the end result of it is that I greatly appreciate your comments and your input. I'm sorry for the anger and for maybe the misunderstanding that arose that led to where we are today versus where we last were. From my perspective personally, and I do live in the community, with reference to somebody who spoke who might have inferred that I was just making that up. I do live in the community.
We're
Can everybody please be on mute?
I'm sorry.
I'm just asking people to go on mute.
Oh,
because
okay.
people weren't.
So the bottom line on it is that I greatly appreciate now hearing from all of you, and am very respectful and responsive to the issues that you're expressing. The bottom line on it is that I wanted to do this tonight to open up the communication and the dialogue. The fact that hasn't occurred, maybe it'll be helpful to relate to you some of the why from my perspective and Wolfgang's perspective. The bottom line on it is that when I last met with you in 2021, okay, I didn't even have any graphics for you. I had graphics for you from the response to the RFP, but I didn't have any graphics for you. And I said to you at that time, the reason I didn't have any graphics for you is that the process with the county was still underway as far as just our agreements. So we didn't enter into our set of agreements until the end of September, October 1, let's say, of 2022. Okay, full year plus later, as far as that goes. At that point in time, we had done our site investigations and our due diligence and found that the design, the footprint of the project that we had responded to the RFP with would no longer work, because we had to design a valet loop that could handle the stacking to not interfere with PCH and not to back up on PCH. And we have substantially a greater design than anything that could occur to allow that to have that happen as far as that goes. That squeezed the building further east such that the footprint required going to 2 stories, 1 story. That design started, Frank Darter started that new design from scratch in October of 2022. By June of 2023, okay, he had a design in place that we then priced, and the numbers were unsustainable. So from June of 2023 until basically what amounted to June of 2024, we went through a bidding process with bringing contractors on board, a value engineering process, redesign process as far as that goes, to come up with the design that we could make financially work. Separate apart from that, then the Coastal Commission asserted jurisdiction for the city. And when that happened, basically the county and the state, stepped in and basically said, no, you don't have jurisdiction. The city does not have jurisdiction. But the Coastal Commission wouldn't back off. So somehow that led to AB 178. AB 178 was signed in September of 2023. Okay? So now I reach a point at the end of 2023, I'm sorry, September of 2024. I reach a point at the end of 2024 where now I, for the first time, have maybe something that can become a reality. And we then submitted our coastal development permit application to the Coastal Commission in December of 2024. Okay. Then the fires hit in January of 2025. Okay. Like you, I was disrupted. I'm living outside of the Palisades right now while my house is being redone. And so to whatever extent you don't think I really appreciate it, I greatly appreciate what you're all going through and going through it myself and understand it. I have a lot of friends in the community. During that time period, that entire time period that we're talking about here to January of 2025 when the fires hit, over that time period, there were numerous times when the media picked up and published that this project was moving forward. Every time they mentioned Gladstones, they mentioned our project. There were public hearings that were being held at the county Board of Supervisors as well as the Beach Commission as far as that. And I have a lot of friends that live in the community who, I will tell you this right now, the number one inquiry that Frank Gehry gets in his office is, when is this project going to happen? Because of all the projects he has going, it's the number one inquiry he gets by a substantial amount. When are you going to get this project going? When are you going to get the project going? Now, when the fires hit, and I was disrupted like you were all disrupted, I will say this, and I'm sorry about it, but the last thing on my mind was I got to reach out to the community, or I got to go reach out to somebody as far as that goes, because notwithstanding the fact that I was processing the project through the Coastal Commission in terms of just responding to their questions, I was separately dealing with the outcome of the fire, like you were all dealing with the outcome of the fire. So unfortunately, and then the next thing that happens, as you might be aware of, is the Coastal Commission deemed our application complete. Once that happened, they have a certain amount of time to hear it. And so all of a sudden, I was faced with the situation that the Coastal Commission had to hear our project. Right? So I tell you all that by way of just saying, I understand, I hear you on everything you're saying. I wish there was a different situation in the past that could have happened as far as that goes, but it didn't. I mean, I am where I am. We are where we are as far as that goes. I would feel differently on this call if basically I saw that there was some flaw in the project design that wasn't going to work. And I don't see that. I instead see just the opposite. I see that we've tried to address everything that could be of concern to the community in such a way that this is going to be an inviting place for you all. Now, whether or not that occurs will obviously have to be seen. But I will tell you, as far as what I was trying to present to you tonight, I think you cannot argue with the fact that it's going to be dramatic as far as a design. It's going to be enjoyable if you will come, because you will be sitting outside on the beach looking at the ocean. And it's been designed for everybody, so that there is something for everybody under any circumstance they want to come. So with all that being said, and I don't mean to cut off if there are more questions. I'm happy to answer questions as far as that goes. But I would look forward to maybe this event leading to some further dialogue and even some time period to spend together, looking at whatever your concerns are still to see what can be done. But to ask me to go back now and do things that I was not required to do is not something I'm willing to do. It's been 8 years. I'm 76 now. I never thought it would take 8 years. Someone mentioned COVID, and COVID was a big delay for all of us as well as how that goes. So the bottom line on it is that we are where we are, and I will stop now by just saying that, notwithstanding the comments tonight, I am as excited as ever for what I believe this will do. And Wolfgang is, and you heard it, Jessica, I think, was mentioning before, or those of you that went to the Coastal Commission hearing, you heard how excited he is about what the opportunity is here. And Frank Gehry at 95 is his most exciting project to him. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. What we're going to do now is we're going to have one more question, and then Zach from Supervisor Horvath's office wants to just say something, and of course, thank you for coming tonight. So Bart Young will be the last
Yeah,
question,
okay.
and then we'll go
Thank
to
you,
Zach.
Sue.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, Tom, I live in Casa Lamar. I look down on Gladstone. I have the same view as the restaurant, only times 10. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a beautiful design. But based on this meeting tonight, what I've heard is that some of the things that we have major concerns about were designed into that RFP, which was prepared by the state, not by the county and not by the city, if I'm understanding you correctly. And so my question to you is, could you open up the door so that we could speak to those who created the RFP and share our issues? I think that some small adjustments would help satisfy a lot of the issues that we've raised tonight. So that's my request, if you'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, Bart, absolutely. And quite frankly, you could do it yourself right now because Kerry Jones is the director of the Department of Beaches and Harbor, and the Department of Beaches and Harbor is the one that basically runs all of Will Rogers State Beach on behalf of the state.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if you could facilitate that, and we'll facilitate you. We want to make it a success, and we want to address our issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thanks,
Bart,
Tom.
I should just clarify. It was the county, my department, Beaches and Harbors, that drafted the RFP document back in 2017. Tom,
2017, yes, April.
As part of our role as the administrators and operators of that state beach.
Okay, Gary. So we look forward to meeting with you as well.
And could
So-
I just note,
Right.
thank you, Gary, that back in 2017 or 18, one of those years, your office did come to PPCC and gave a presentation along with Sheila Kuhl's representatives.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, Zach, I'm sorry about my dog, you guys. Zach, are you here?
Yep, I'm right here. Just, I guess, to close us out, I want to thank the PPCC for hosting this meeting, and I want to thank the community for taking the time out of your very busy schedules with all that you have going on to come and listen and to ask some really important and prudent questions and get some answers that are well deserved for this community. We appreciate the partnership with all of you, and look forward to continuing some conversations. I know there's still some outstanding questions, and of course we want to bring those back to the supervisor, and we want to be able to continue those conversations and find resolutions. So again, just want to thank everyone for being here tonight, for asking some really good questions, and for the PPCC for holding this meeting.
Well, Zach, I want to say Zach was very helpful in putting this together. So Zach, thank you so much for that. Thank you to Supervisor Horvath, but big thanks to you because you were instrumental. And of course, Gary and Tom, appreciate your time tonight very, very much. So thank you. And we're all keeping our fingers crossed and wishing everyone really the best of luck.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Okay.
all.
Thank you.
Happy
Thanks,
Halloween.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.